Welcome to Resilience plus Rise, the podcast where resilience is not just a concept, but a lived experience. I'm your host, Thomas Scaria, a resilience coach, an ultra marathoner, and a relentless believer in the human spirit's ability to rise. This podcast is a companion to my book, Resilience plus Rise 26.2 Transformative Miles to Unleash Your Marathon of Life Mindset. Each episode is an unfiltered dive into the stories or people who have helped to face life's hardest battles and emerge stronger. Today, I have the privilege of getting in Alex and Jennifer Hayes. Amazing couple. What they believe in is to reduce owner dependency, increase enterprise value, take control of exit. You're confused? So am I. Because again, it's about for business owners and how they look into the life. But then again, I realize it is not just about business. Life itself, if you take it as it's a business. And what are we holding on to that may not really have value? Or why are we sitting in? Or what are the habits that's just stopping us from taking to the next steps? What are we depending so heavily on that our life is not proceeding ahead? So anyway, Alex and Jen, welcome to Resilience plus Rise, the podcast.
Thank you. Thanks for having us, Thomas. Appreciate it.
So let's begin with, if you all could spend a few minutes about what do you all do and why, most importantly, why what you all are doing is important.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thanks for the intro. Very kind. So we help business owners with four main things. We help business owners understand their financials, where they're at today.
Mm-hmm.
We help them understand where their systems and operations are today, and then we help them understand and clarify where they want to go with their life and their business. And we do this through the lens of leadership development. So those are the four things. So it's financials, it's systems and procedures, it's leadership development, and then it's clarity of what the next chapter looks like. So that's our 4-step process and how we help business owners go from feeling tired in their own business and not understanding or not remembering the why they're still there, to feeling like they're actually still progressing and that there's still another chapter of their life yet to live.
Fantastic. And how did you all get into it? Have you all been business owners, or you all are management graduates or consultants, and what made you all to get into this space?
That's a great question too. Maybe I'll let Jen take a shot at this one first.
So our background is actually in the merchant Marines. So ship mariners. We basically dove into operations first. Sailing on a ship, it's a closed system and everything has to be running like fully. If you're out in the middle of the ocean, no help's going to come. You have to have everything, all, a big capability to fix whatever's broken, all your supplies has to be there. So that was our first part, operations. And then we dove kind of into the business aspect of it, becoming entrepreneurs for the past 6 years? 6 years, creating businesses, selling a business, and it was just a wild ride. But we learned the business side of that too, and sales and marketing and all the other stuff. And then we kind of looked at the business and we're like, you know what? Like, there's a lot of people right now who are in the process of selling their businesses because you have the boomer generation retiring a lot. And so there's going to be influx of all these businesses coming on the market. Like our apps, our business mind apps, it goes off all the time, like every day. It's crazy right now. And so a lot of people were looking at, oh, how can I buy these businesses? But they weren't really focusing on the people and caring about the founders and owners who put, everything into the business to start it. These amazing people who have so much grit and resilience. They weren't really looking at it in their perspective. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd add a little bit extra clarity to that too. It's just that we looked at what was happening today, and it doesn't take long for you to find in your Instagram feeds and other influencer telling you buy a business tomorrow or buy a business no cash, or like
Sure.
everybody's seen them at this point. And I think what we saw was a trend of it's dehumanizing the business, and businesses in itself, especially older businesses, are very much about the founder. And nobody is talking about the story of how to separate the founder from the business to let the business continue to grow into a different direction, but then making sure that the founder gets what the founder deserves, right? What does the founder really want out of going into the next chapter or exiting their business? I don't like the word retire, because I don't think entrepreneurs know what that means.
No.
Yep, no, not
I've never met an entrepreneur that said, yeah, I want to retire and do absolutely nothing. I've never met them yet. I mean, maybe I'll still find them one day.
So true.
Maybe. But entrepreneurs in general are very, very much creative. We're very big builders. We love to do things that create value. We're creators.
Or
right?
Problem
solvers, creators. And a lot of times we grow these businesses, and the business itself just no longer is providing the satisfaction that it used to, because we know that there's something bigger, or that we know that there's another thing that we need to be working on, that now the day-to-day of the business that they've built is now getting in the way of them growing themselves. And it's also getting in the way of the business growing to the next level. And they know this intuitively, but some things get in the way of this. And we felt this too with our own business. We sold our educational platform for printed circuit board repair and rework to a private buyer, but we had to go through that struggle trying to figure out what was next. Like, what were we going to do? Is this really our opportunity, or is this somebody else's opportunity to take to the next level? Because there's something else that's pulling us in a different direction. And for us, that was this. For us, that was helping owners get clarity on what the next step is for their life and for their business, and to help them build it in a way that's going to respect both the owner and the business, right? So we knew that we needed to let go of what we had built in order to embrace where we were going.
Right. And it was so hard. It was super hard. I mean, those months.
It's tough because you spend so much time.
It's your business.
It is. Over here, actually, sorry for that interruption, but then this has got me actually a segue to my next question. And guys, I will be putting out their website, don'tdiewithyourbusiness.com, down on the comment below. But do connect with Alex and Jen. My question is more from what a couple of points that you all mentioned during the conversation, is that they build up. Like we humans, we build up on things because we believe in what it is. There are a couple of factors which comes up over there. Sometimes we keep on building without it really building. I mean, we believe we are building something, but nothing really happens. We are calling the people out, nothing is happening. That is one part of it. Another part of it is we are building, and we don't want to let go.
Yeah.
Okay, that is the second part. And the third part is, as you mentioned, is that now if I let go, what's going to happen with my life? So these three elements which is there is that, okay, they keep on building something, because as we know, this is about resilience, and that's where resilience comes into picture, is that people at times they're trying or they're working on doing something, but working, but I don't see a horizon coming up. So that could be just a frustration or just going around in circles, or it is that they are building and they don't want to let it go. Okay, or it could be that they are just keeping on building and building and building, and they don't know what to do. So from a human element point of view, because you'll have already been in this business for around around 6 years, what are the key elements that you have observed in people? Because I know when you all talk to the people, it is not just the profit and loss, or what's the credit balance, or what's happening around, or where it's what's been happening, how's the sales, what is the bottom line, etc. It's more also about the people who have put in their life and time into that particular business. So what have been the observations that you all have gone through when you look into these elements?
No, I think first off, it's the commonality is how prevalent fear is today.
Okay.
And a lot of it has to do with fear of change, right? Fear of the unknown. It could be financial insecurity. That's a big one today. It's like people like looking at the economy, like is this going to keep going? And so what happens when we act out of fear instead of intention, we end up going into protection mode, right? So, I don't know if anybody's heard the phrase circling the wagons, right? But you kind of continue just to protect what you have. And they do the things that have always in the past rewarded financially, which is I have to show up and sit in the chair because that's how I get paid. That's how I make money. When I don't sit in the chair, I don't make money, right? So they go back into, I'm oversimplifying it a lot, of course, but it's essentially that's the bottom line is I want to do the things that I've always done. But what they don't consider is that the business itself is, or they are the business. They are the vessel that holds the capacity of the business in it, inside of themselves. And in the beginning, they had capacity because they had energy, they had time, they had focus and attention, right? But there comes a point physically where somebody just can't hold everything together anymore because businesses get big. They have more demands, they have more customers, they have more delivery. It gets more complex the bigger something gets. And that just happens naturally over time, right? And so what they don't realize is that they're holding themselves and the business back from growth because they're still trying to fit everything into a model that everything has to go through them. The harder, and it's a weird thing, the more that they try to keep control today over the entire business, the less options they have when they want to exit and move on to the next thing for their life, right? They're actually losing control over the bigger event, the bigger liquidity event or biggest cash event, or potentially the biggest, life-changing event that they would ever experience. They're losing out on control then, and they're choosing to maintain smaller control today to make themselves feel better. And it's a weird dynamic, right? It's a weird play because it almost feels counterintuitive. If I have full control of everything, I know the direction it's going to go. But really what they're doing is they're holding both hands behind their back as they're trying to work with their hands. It's a weird observation that we've come across time and time again.
Anything that you would want to add, Jen, onto that?
Well, I can say for the second point of a lot of them are afraid of what's next.
Yes.
Because they don't know. I know it's scary. So whenever we made the decision of, yes, we're going to be selling it. We always have to, selling our business, we always have to run to something. It helps to run to something instead of kind of like, oh, I'm done. And then what's next? You always have to have a plan in place because it's so emotional. But if you write down your plan and you have a plan, you can always look back on that and be like, okay, no matter what I'm feeling right now, it's okay. I'm processing. It's human. It's okay. But you know what? Here's a plan. I'm going to keep on working towards that plan. And that plan looks different for everyone. It could be, hey, I'm going to take vacations. Hey, I'm going to do charity. Or with us, it was like, hey, let's start up another business, So it's running towards something and having a plan and be intentional about that plan helps.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wonderful. I think so. You just touched a very key point. It's not only about business, but a lot of we humans are so attuned to being in our comfort zone. And to get out of that comfort zone is very, very unnerving. And becomes and as you mentioned, Alex, rightly, the fear of change. Again, from a human element point of view, what would you suggest to the people? Now over here, it could be a business or it could be something which they are so comfortable in. It's like the Charlie Brown's, who's that Linus, who's to have the blanket, doesn't want to let go of the blanket, even though it may be smelly with a lot of flies, but still wants to hold on to it. So what is the suggestion that you would tell people, more from motivation or inspiration, that what stops them to take the next steps? What would be your thoughts on that?
I think it's supporting the point that Jen just made. It's not really understanding or not being clear with yourself of what you really want.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you have to really define what it is that you want to achieve in order to achieve something. If you don't have a target, you never know if you hit it. You know?
True.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds simple, but it really is the truth of, if you have to know what it is that you want to accomplish, because at the end of the day, we only have so much time, and time is the most valuable resource on the planet, because we're only here for a short while. And the question is, how do you want to live it? And for business owners, it's the question, becomes, how do you want to invest your time for the reward that you're looking for? Right? Some people, it's not just money. At some point, and here's another interesting observation, the older generation tends not to care about money as much anymore. Older generations tend more to care about things like legacy or family or taking care of the church or or charity organizations. They're very more philanthropic in their mentality, and they tend not to care so much about making the most amount of money. That was another big observation that we had, and that it really just keeps going back to the question, like, what's important to you? What do you want to spend more time doing? What lights you up? What gets you motivated to get out of bed in the morning? Like that. So that, I think, just getting clear on what it is you want and how you want to spend your time, and then let the money follow.
Right. And then also a lot of time what happens is that people are in their head too much. Psych themselves out. And sometimes, you know what, if it doesn't make sense, but you have a target and a goal, you just have to do. Like, don't even think about that. Just do it. You have your target, go run to your target. To get out of your comfort zone, it's so hard. We've done it. We've
done it a lot.
But every single time you do it, honestly, it gets a little bit easier, because you're able to detach your emotions away from the actual mission.
But you also see that you can grow in your own capacity.
Yeah.
Right. That's another really big thing, because we've done so many different changes. I mean, we used to live a lifestyle in which I was gone for half the year. Right. I was a merchant salesman. Yeah, I was gone for half the year. So every 3 or 4 months, our life was completely changed. Right. And we got really comfortable with that radical, drastic change of lifestyle every 3 to 4 months. And then when I stopped going to sea, we became entrepreneurs, and then that was another major drastic change. And then we came to a point a few years ago where we were like, you know what, let's sell our house, let's move into an RV, and let's travel the country full time. And we did that with 5 kids.
Yeah, homeschooling.
So wonderful.
Yeah. And then so now we've been doing all this radical change and intentional living for so long that the muscle is pretty well defined for us. But there's always another thing that's scary, right? There's always another mountain to climb. There's always another mission to complete. And it's just about staying focused on, again, what's important and how do we want to spend the short time that we're given on this earth.
Wonderful. Actually, that's a beautiful segue to the next question. That, okay, I do know that you're nomads traveling around.
Yes.
But how do you manage having this body? Of course, now it's a world of automation where we can talk digitally, you can talk to people around, but with the 5 kids around, so the question is that, how do you balance a life? I mean, people, once they have the white picket fence, they are comfortable being over there. But when you're just moving around, the uncertainty is always there in some way or the other. So how do you make your mind more resilient or more stronger to be ready for the next, it could be the adversity or next sunshine which is going to be coming in?
That's a good question. So our faith plays a lot in that.
Yeah.
We believe in God, and we believe that He's a provider and a protector, and that He's faithful enough so that we can trust Him for our well-being too. So that helps us a lot with all the uncertainty going around, and that He is in control of everything. So that helps us just navigate life. Now with the time management, it's
Yes.
yeah. So time management, that is a skill all in itself. Oh man. So we have our business, we have full-time RV life, and then, we love visiting family. So we're here visiting family right now, and it's great. We get to spend so much time with them. But then I also homeschool, and we have 5 kids, so it's the work-life balance. A lot of the social media has been saying, oh yes, work-life balance. And then that was like what, last year? And then this year there's everybody saying, oh, there's no work-life balance. I'm like, guys, come on. Like, just get it straight. What you need to do is just manage your own time wisely. So with me, the Eisenhower grid helps a lot of like putting out fires, but then also taking that one step further is kind of making time in my calendar and being intentional about the time to put in my calendar of like, oh, hey, this is when I'm going to homeschool the kids in my calendar. This is when I have a meeting. This is when we have to work on our family time. This is when we're going to spend time together. It's just being intentional with the time that we are allotted in a day, because we all get the same time in the day. It's just how intentional are you with it, or how intentional are you about it?
Wonderful. Love that. So if you don't mind me asking, what is the age spectrum of the kids?
Oldest is 10, and the youngest, who is coming into the door right now, is 4.
So guys, now they have got kids ranging the spectrum of 4 years to 10 years, and they are still going around in our way. They are still having a business that they are working around, and they are still homeschooling, and still, of course, the cooking and the cleaning and all the other good things are also, all those good things are also there. So if they can do it, and if this conversation has got your attention, if you're in that particular space that, hey, you know what, I am in a space that I want to get out, as they call it, as a exit readiness strategy, what could be done? Have a talk with them and see where that could lead to. It may lead to answers. It may lead to they telling that, why don't you go and tap on so-and-so person's shoulders? Maybe, maybe not. But when we talk about this readiness strategy, could you just give the few steps what you all talk to the clients about? Just a few steps.
Yeah, absolutely. So we look at the business from the 3 different perspectives. The financial perspective, what did the books say about the business? We look at the systems and operations of the business. How do you do what you do? And then we look at the leadership depth of the business and how deep does your leadership bench go, right? Is everything still inside of you, or do you actually have people that can work without your direct involvement? So those are the main 3. First step is evaluation, right? So we evaluate the business from a standpoint of, can it operate without you? That's the lens that we look at it through. And then again, the 4th thing that we look at, which I think is the most important, is clarifying with the owner, what is it that they want to be intentional about with their time? How do they want to spend the time that they have? And what is the time horizon, right? To work themselves in a position where they're no longer the operator of the business, but an investor in their business. So that's how we look at it, and that's where we start. So everything starts with understanding where they're at from an evaluation perspective.
Wow. And again, guys, this conversation what we have been having, at least for the last 20 plus minutes, that has given me a lot of confidence. The way they are handling their life, and even I also do not believe in work-life balance. There is life, and that's how you get it together.
Yeah.
And how you are working around with it to make it more fruitful, not only for you. And there was a beautiful word which has been used, a legacy. Okay, so in case you are in that space wherein you are doing a business and you want to know more about, let's see what are the other options which is available. Well, here's Alex and Jen, who could provide you the answers maybe that you're looking out for. So, guys, before I can wrap up the session, do you have any last final thoughts? I mean, I give the space to both of you guys. So, is there any thoughts that you would like to mention to in this podcast? Sorry.
Well, I would say if you're ready for the change, just go do it. We live one life. Be okay to fail because you can always get back up. So, yeah.
And for me, I would say just how do you want to spend your time? How do you want to spend the most precious resource that you have? And do you want to constantly be living in fear and feeling tired, or are you ready to start seeing what's possible again?
Wonderful. So, guys, that was a wonderful short conversation about what y'all are offering, and I believe that it could be helpful to many people or many of the listeners who are listening on this particular segment. And thank you so very much for your space and time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate having us, Thomas.